Oh, okay. Hello guys, good morning. Can you hear me? Hi, okay. So for today, before we start our lecture, because last week on our first lecture, I skipped few part that I wasn't sure. So before we proceed with our second lecture or chapter 2, we will go back to the first chapter. Mhm. So last week, I explained that for research, there are few type of research which can be classified into few class. So this is the class, and then this is the explanation that I think I skipped last week. So let me explain to you guys. I'm not sure which one, but I think they are one of this type of research that I skipped. But I will explain again the type of research. So, research, when we're doing research, there is no, I mean, there's not only one type of research. It's not like you're only literally doing one type of research. For research can be classified into few parts. So it's not part class, can be differentiated into few class. So the first one is pure research. Pure research is the original idea or something that has never been done before, and something that can be intellectually challenging to a researcher because it's something that hard to measure and they have less or no reference before. So that's pure, something that's original. And then applied research is a research that focus on analyzing and solving real life problem. Okay, for example, applied research is a research that you conduct or you yeah a research that you conduct to find a specific answer for a specific solution. For example, here in the example you can see finding specific cure for a disease. So they want to solve a problem or they want to find what is the solution for a specific disease, any specific disease. That's the applied. For descriptive is a research that you conduct to find or to it's not to find, to explain it's either the phenomenon, service or program, or anything that you think that you want to describe. For example, a research on autism. Autism actually is a neurodevelopmental disorder. Yeah, neurodevelopmental disorder. So descriptive, for example, you want to conduct a research for autism. So for descriptive research is a research that you want to is is a research that you want to describe what is the character of autism that you can observe. So from your observation, you can write a description. But for research, it's not as simple that what is the character. But basically, that's the example of descriptive. You want to describe. From the example here in the lecture note, you can see describe the attitude of employee towards the management. So they want to conduct a research to describe what is the attitude of the employee towards the management, or how would the employee react to the management. That is descriptive. And then next one we have correlational. For correlational, it is to discover or establish the existence of a relationship between two or more aspects. correlational is actually a research that you want to see what is the relationship between two objects that you use in your research. Yeah, what you want to see in your research. In the example part here, they use what is the relationship between technology and unemployment. So they want to see how does technology can impact the unemployment issue. Another example is how another example is how what is the effect of gaming with the learning application. So the subject or the aspect that you want to see, the relationship is the gaming and the learning application. That is the correlational research. But for deeper research, I think for PhD level of research, they can have two two subject that they want to see or even more. But for degree, I think enough with two, and master two should be enough with two subject or aspect that you want to see. Yeah, so it won't be complex. But for PhD level, it will be more aspect. And then the next one is explanatory. Explanatory is quite different. It's a bit different with descriptive just now. Descriptive research. For explanatory, I forgot again. Thank you, Vincent. So, yeah, explanatory. Explanatory is a bit different with descriptive because explanatory it's more explanatory in the explanation here. It is a research to clarify why and how there is a relationship between two aspects of a relation situation or phenomenon. For descriptive, just now, you it's a research that basically conduct just to describe what is the, for example, the example just now is the what is the what is the character of autism. That is descriptive, but for explanatory, uh, it's more to explain. That means, is there any scientific explanation or any explanation that can use to explain the phenomena? That is the explanatory. Yeah, as you can see in the example, explain why stressful living result in heart attack. So you need to find any explanation or scientific, scientific explanation or any justification why stressful living result in heart attacks. That's explanatory. For exploratory, the last one, exploratory, exploratory is a research to explore an area where little information known or to investigate the possibility of undertaking a particular research study. Okay, that means exploratory is for any for any research, any particular research or area of research, there are already previous research. That means this is not a pure research, but the information or the knowledge is still not much. So you want to explore for more information or for more answer for your research. For example, here, conduct a research to know the level of customer satisfaction among the patron of a restaurant. So they want to seek uh, for more answer or result, for more answer of the satisfaction level of the customer. And then the second point is to refine or test measurement tools and procedure. Ah, This one is because measurement tools is like measurement tools can be like a questionnaire. So they want to use or to see how how relevant or how useful the questionnaire or the tools for the research. So they're looking for more explanation. So basically, that's the type of research. I think you need to know because you have midterm and test. I'm not the one who designed your midterm paper, but I think it's quite important for you to know what is the type of research and then the explanation or for example maybe in the exam or in the midterm they will give you a paper, a journal or article. Article is something like where was it? Wait, let me find because you have midterm. So, practical this year lecture exercise. Article. Yeah. So maybe in your midterm, you guys can see, right? Okay. So maybe in your midterm, they will give you like an article like this. Any article, I'm not saying this one, any article like this. So, okay, so this article has 14 page. So maybe they will ask you, Miss, this course have exam. No, you only have uh midterm N. Assignment. You only have midterm and assignment. But later I will explain it in your practical after this. After this lecture, I'll explain. So maybe in your test or midterm, they will give you something like this, any article, and then they will ask you what is the type of research of this article. So you need to classify or what is the type of what is the type of research. So I think I'm not saying that they will ask you, but you have midterm, and I think it's quite important for you to know this. Yeah, it's quite important for you to know this type of research. Yeah, it's important for you to know this. Maybe they will ask you what is the type of the research conducted. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's how it should be because I already see your past year paper, past year question. They are this kind of question they ask you, they ask student. Okay, so that's for chapter one. Before we move to chapter two, do you have any question for chapter one? I think no. Okay, since no question, let's move to yeah. Oh no, chapter two, planning and designing. So planning and designing a research. Uh okay. So planning and designing your research. So just like your OOAD, before you design a system or you want before you design a system, you need to plan. So planning is always the first phase of any process. You want to plan your research or you want to plan your system or application. So that's planning. For this course, planning is for this research method course or subject. Planning is before you do your research, you need to plan how to conduct your how to conduct your research. Yeah, how to conduct your research, and you need to design a research study. So for this chapter 2, you will learn about LR, literature review. Literature review is like a study from previous paper, and then you conclude to write in your paper. And then research problem, how to write a good research problem or problem statement, and hypothesis. Hypothesis is something that you want to justify or something that you want to test, or yeah, you want to test for your research. And then the parameter. Parameter is like when you do a research or conduct a research, the parameter of your subject can be like, for example, your research is the Facebook is, for example, your research is relationship between the usage of Facebook between the student performance. So your parameter is the student. And then basic assumption. Basic assumption is related to your hypothesis, what you can, any assumptions in your early of your research that you want to see the result, tools and technique of research planning. This is an aspect in a research. So then we move to the first one. The first one is LR, literature review. So what is literature review? Literature review in a research actually one of the crucial or one of the important part. Oh, I can see that. So one of the important part of your research, because as you can see here, review of the published or unpublished work. That means in literature review, you need to read a lot of journal or a lot of article. For example, if my research is something that has to do with Facebook Facebook reaction or clustering mechanism, so I need to look or I need to search for any paper or any research that has been done that related to my current or my current research. So that's what LR. That's what LR is. You need to go and look for others' work. You're not doing plagiarism, but LR is something like after you already read this article, for example, you already done finish this article, and then you need to conclude or you need to summarize or you need to write what is the output from this paper, written by this group of people, and you need to credit them in your LR and your reference list. So that's what LR is basically. So yeah, extensive survey on the existing work. That means you go for another related or previous research that related to your research. So why you need to do literature review or why you need to write your LR. So you need to write LR to gain background knowledge, because from your because research is not something that you can, for example, you want to find out about something regarding your research. You cannot simply like go and Google and yeah, Google your answer. Trust me, I already done few research, and then for my answer, it's not something that you can simply find on the Google. If you can find your answer on the Google, that's good, but that's very rare because you need to go to do LR, you need to write or no, you need to read what others already write in the paper. For example, anything that the output of this paper, what's the output part? Yeah, for example, here, as you can see here, you guys can see, right? So example here, the result of this experiment, the result of this research, for instance, here we take this graph. This is not something that you can find or you can something that you can simply Google on the internet. So you need to gain or you need to know the knowledge from LR that or from other researcher. That means you need to read the article that already written by other work that has been done already. So that's why you need to read LR. And then give us knowledge on what others have done or how they have done up to that info. Okay, why we need to know what others people already done? This is because if they already done the research, why you need to do research? Why do I need to do the research? So we need to know if the research is already there. I mean, the research is already has been done before, or what can we improve from the previous research? For example, this research or this article again, this article, emotional expression using clustering mechanism. I can conduct an experiment or I can conduct a research that to identify emotional expression, but using different method. This is clustering mechanism. This is a method or yeah, this is a method that they use to identify the emotional expression. I can do the same research but using different mechanism. I cannot do the one that using this mechanism because this is already done by people. So I need to know that using this mechanism is already done and it's already there, the published already. So I need to do or I need to find mechanism, other mechanism. That's why we need to know what others has done. And then how they have done. Yeah, because we need to know how they finish or how they conduct their research or their experiment. Is there any gap that we can fill or is there any discussion or further work that already suggested by the researchers? We need to know the output of the research. So not to replicate what others have done. This is the same like I said just now in the first point, what people has done, so that we do not replicate or duplicate or mm, we do not do the same thing. So that's why we need to know what already done. And identifying the data source. Identifying the data source is very important in research because, like I said just now, any data or anything that you want to write or provide in your research that can contribute to your output is not something that you can Google. Like I said again, if you can Google, that's jackpot for you, but that's very rare to identify the data source. Even to find a paper, you need to find like a good database for you. So using LR, sometimes the previous researcher write or they state there where can we look for where can we refer to find the source. How's others structured their works and report. This is how we can see, or this one is another way or another importance of LR because we can see how they produce their output or how they structured their works. I mean the organization of the research to write a report. Report actually report is a result or your whole process. But for your course, this subject, this course, you need to write an article. You doesn't need to write a report. Okay. So how to conduct LR survey? How to conduct the LR survey? First, to identify by identifying the relevant sources. So relevant sources, like I said, LR is the previous or previous research that already done. So how can we find where can we find the source of the papers or which like um, for example, let's see. Let's see. I give you example. What's the name? Scopus. So, for example, here referring to this note, identify the relevant sources. So we need to identify, or where can we look the sources for your research. For example, from usually the people or the person that already done the research, they will state which which database you can refer to, or what's the journal that you can refer to. So you need to know all of this. I'm not saying you need to know all of this, but that's the process of writing LR. I think this is the same like because you already degree, right? Plagiarism, you need to know if your source is valid or not. So you need to use a very, it's not a very, you need to use a valid research, a valid resource. So that's that. And then extract and record relevant information. Yeah, extract and record relevant information. Like I said last week, I still remember. I told you guys that out of many papers, let's say out of 100 papers that you read, doesn't mean that you need to extract all of the information from all of the paper. You need to know which one is useful for your research, and you need to record the relevant information. So if you read 100 papers, doesn't mean you need to write out or you can use any of them. You need to know exactly what you want to use or what's related or relevant to your research. And then write up the LR. So after you find the resources and then you find the useful paper, and then you need to write the LR. Actually, when I'm reading a paper, the first one I will do if I want to know if that paper is useful or relevant to my research is, hmm, for example, this one. I read the title of the paper first. Yeah, I read the title because sometimes from the paper we know already that it's not related to our research. So what I do actually, then what I do next is, if I think that's the title is related, I will go to abstract. Abstract, like I said last week, abstract is like a summary of the whole paper. So from abstract, I can know if that paper is relevant or not, because in the abstract they will contain the objective, the problem statement, or even the output sometimes. So from the abstract, I will eliminate or I will exclude the paper. So that can save my time to read others paper that is not related. Yeah, that's how I do usually. But I think for your cases, you need to read. I think you need to read the paper. Okay. So next, after you already write your LR, source of LR. Source of LR can be books, not only article, can be books, journal, or yeah, can be books or journal article, because this is a valid resources. Bibliographic database is I'm not sure what is bibliographic database. I think basically here from this list of resources, this is like you know already, when you're doing even simple assignment, you need to use a valid resources. Like you cannot use some source from some random blog or something that pop up anywhere. You need to use this valid. How you want to know? For me myself, I don't even let's be honest here. I don't even know what is this. But for my research, how to know, or I always take shortcut for my, but don't follow me. I always use, for example, how I find paper is, let's see, what is it? Hmm? Gamification. Oh, how to know if my sources is valid? Usually, I will go to this Google Scholar, and then I will see. Sometimes I don't even click at the link. I just read from outside here. For example, like this. This is a valid sources, because this one is have the writer here and the publisher. Hmm, What is the invalid example here? This one is valid, 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 valid. I think everything in Google Scholar is already valid. How to know? Something like this is valid. This is not valid. This is the example of the sources that is not valid. ResearchGate is valid. So usually that's what I do. Yeah, that's what I do. For book, mostly it's all is valid because it's already published. So book shouldn't be any problem. Abstract database, protect the government. I rarely use internet research dissertation. Dissertation is a thesis. For your for your program, do you have a final year project for you guys? FYP? Do you have FYP? I think so. Yes. Ah, so is bibliographical database. I think for because for my university too, they have like a repository or bibliographical database. I think yeah, should be something like this. If you go to any university, they should provide because they have their online database to keep the paper or research done even by the student or the staff, the lecturer. So they will keep in the database. So FYP, yes. So thesis is a dissertation and thesis is the same. Thesis is like a full report of your research. Thesis is a full report of your research. So internet research, because in the internet sometimes, it's not sometimes, they always or they will store, it's not store, they will publish. No, 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 degree, degree. This is something like uh, autism learning application Swiss the PDF. So sometimes you even need to read thesis or dissertation from other researcher. Thesis for my master, I write around for my degree, I write around 100 to 200 page. This is not thesis. This is an article. Thesis is something that this is like a report of your research. So this is this is the example of thesis. Oh, I need this paper. Wait, I think this is okay. I accidentally found this. This is for my research. But usually this is the example of thesis. They need to sign up. Down here. This is the thesis. This is the example of thesis. Sometimes you need to go through this thesis or this book. So this is the thesis example of thesis. Okay, this is important for me. Ah, oh yeah, that's thesis. So you need to go for thesis sometimes. Then we move to next slide. This is an article. This is example of article. Yeah, this is just example of article. So how to write the LR or how to write the review. So like I said just now, LR is a output that you take from other paper or you like refresh back what others said. So for example here, if you're referring to major influential this it can be written as okay. For example, in this paper, in this paper, I think the paper is there. Is it the paper? Okay. Shit, 1973. Such ETH. Shit, 1973. Major influencing modern history value. Okay, okay. So this is the paper. So how to write at R? Okay, let's say you conduct a research that's related to this paper done by Shed. So let's say after you already read this paper, this article, this is a, yeah, this is an article. So let's say you already done this paper. So you want to use or you found out that this paper or the outcome of this paper related to what you want to do. So in this case, the example here, there's a few way or few method that you can write to refresh or uh to to cite this paper. So for example here, you can write something like this. Shed 1973 has suggested. So this is that what you get from the paper or the output of the research. Yeah, this is the output. You do not copy and paste the output here. That is plagiarism. What you need to do is you need to, like I said, conclude the output. So that is not considered as plagiarism. So you need to write the writer, the year, and has suggested. So he suggested in his paper the statement here, the statement here. Or other way is according to shared model of the industrial. So this is another way. You need to refresh, you do not copy. And then here, or another way is you write the name at the end of your statement here. So that's how you write LR. And for every paper that you cite or you use here in this in your LR, you need to include in your reference part, reference list in the last section of your research. So that's how you're going to write LR. Let's see. You cannot find one. Let's see here. Mm, related work is known as LR2. So, for example, here, we take this one, the related work or the LR. here you can see this writer, the writer of this paper, the writer of this paper uh, found or find from another paper that is related to his work. So he cite like this. This is another way to cite of other statement of other or other research. This user, oh, this research, I mean this FB emoticon, he conclude what he already read from this paper, from this, yeah, from this paper. So you need to see in the list section number 22 in the reference list. So that's the paper that they conclude here, or the, yeah, they conclude here. So that's how you write LR. Mm. So this is the LR. Like I said, for every LR you write here the example. Like I explained just now, for every LR or every paper that you use in your LR, you need to write in your reference because to give credit to the original paper. That's how you write. So for LR, you need to know, like I said, you need to find the relevant literature. You need to find or use the relevant paper that related to your works. Refer to original works. Original works is like, let's say for instance, I write this one paper, the gamification paper, and then the other researcher use or refer to my paper, and then you want to write the same, no, you want to use my paper. So original works in this case is my research. I'm the original writer of the first writer of your research, of the research. That is original works. Read the comprehension. Comprehension is, you need to know exactly what you read. You need to understand the paper. That's what it's mean by read with comprehension. You need to know exactly. Read in time. Read in time. I'm not sure what is read in time, but I don't think this is important point for LR. Index the literature. Index the literature is like this one. You give credit or you mark your paper or any paper that you write in the LR part. That's index the literature. And then we have PS. PS is a problem statement. Okay. PS is a problem statement. So what problem statement? Problem statement is a definition or problem statement or clear and precise statement of the question or issue to be investigated to find an answer. So problem statement is a complete or precise statement of your issue. Okay, let's take example. Hmm, let's take example with the using your OOAD system. Let's see. What's okay? Last week in previously in OOAD class, I remember there's a example with bakery. What bakery. The problem with the bakery is they don't have online system. If I'm not mistaken, that's the problem. So from that so from that problem, you need to write a precise or exact problem. What is the problem with the bakery? For instance, the problem with the bakery is they don't have online system. So the problem statement should include what is the problem, which is they don't have online system that can attract more customer to them, and then that's the issue that you want to solve. You want to solve this. You want to solve the issue by developing or design a system for that bakery. So you need to be precise and clear on the problem statement. So there are two ways of stating problem. First, posting question by asking question using the PS and making declarative statement. I think it's quite rare. I won't say rare, but yeah, I think it's quite rare if you ask question. But there is or there are problem statement using question. But usually people will making declarative statement. For example, is the bakery again. The bakery facing problem, or the bakery having problem. No, wait, Mac bakery declare. So the sales of the bakery is low due to the having. Okay, for example, the bakery, right? For making declarative statement, the example of the one that I can think for now is the problem statement should be something like the sales of the bakery is low due to not having an online system. That is a declarative statement. Yeah, or it's a statement itself. I think you can understand by the term declare here. That's declarative statement. But for question or asking question in your PS, that's quite rare. But that's quite rare actually. So that's PS, problem statement. Basically for PS, you just need to know, or just need to understand what's the precise or clear statement of your PS problem. That's PS. And then process. So how you're going to write your problem statement? First, statement of the problem in a general way. Um, yeah, you need to write your problem statement starting with guys, can we have 5 minute break and then we continue back here on how to write the research problem. It's not 5 minutes. I think we will start back at 10. Is that okay? Thank you.
You use your earbuds every day, but did you know that your earbuds carry tons of bacteria? Introducing the LG Tone-Free Wireless Earbuds, equipped with UV Nano Charging Cradle that kills 99.9% of bacteria while charging. With active noise cancellation, you can enjoy immersive, high-quality sound by Meridian with roaring bass whenever, wherever. Get the LG Tone-Free and experience a masterpiece of clarity today. Tap the banner to find out more.
Mm. Hi guys. Noel, I just read your message here for declarative PS. We do not know the relationship between A and B. I don't understand what do you mean here, Noel.
Yeah,
We do.
before this, there's a declarative problem right, in the lines.
Huh?
So, is this example really fits the what
of Robin's
declarative problem?
declarative. We do not know the relationship between A and B. So that's mean you want to find or you want to see what is the relationship between subject A and B, is it?
Yeah. Then the problem is based on yeah. Can nggak miss?
Can. I think yeah, I can this is like I can understand now. I think from what you write here, we do not know the relationship between A and B is wait, I read. Can, but you need to be specific because declaratives what I write here. Maybe can because you want to see the relationship between A and B. No, we do not know. Oh, identify. Wait, let me type. But needs to be specific, SPESI, specific and clear. For your for your PS here, can. But first, can because you want to see what is the relationship between A and B. That's mean you want to identify how does these two how does these two object or aspect related. This is like correlational research. You want to see what's the relationship, but you need to be specific and you need to be clear. But can generally can, but yeah, can. Am I answering your question, Niall?
Clear like how? I mean, need to define A and B kah? Need to
Yeah, you
explain.
need to define.
Oh,
Yes, you need to define before you want to see what is the relationship. You need to define what is A and what is B.
oh, so need to
That
elaborate more on this
yes,
statement. Oh,
yes,
okay.
correct. But basically, you can use that as a declarative PS. So where we stop? Uh, so here in your research, this one is problem statement, and then how to write a good research problem statement. First, you need to statement in the problem or in a general way. You need to write, or you can write your statement or your statement in a general way. It doesn't need to be specific first. And then you need to understand the nature of your problem. So what is the nature of your problem? The nature of your problem is usually something like, you can see my screen, right? The nature of the problem is something that how what is the environment of your research, or what is the nature of your research. Yeah, you need to understand them. And then surveying the available LR. This one again, you need to read the LR, what has been done before or what has been conducted before. And then developing the ideas through the discussion. Discussion here actually based on your the third point here, LR. After you already read your or you done your LR part, you need to get what is the research gap of your what is the previous. I mean, the gap is something like what can we do for future work, so you can get the idea for your discussion. For instance, just now I read one of the paper that think I think useful for me. The gap of the paper usually you can find in the, what is it? Yeah, in future, in learning. Okay. Okay, for example here, this is the LR. I mean, for my research, I can use this paper as LR. So in future, we intend to do this limitation. Limitation is something that the gap of this research, something that you can use for your further or for your research. For example, here the problem of this research is they can for future work. Another researcher can design a real-time stories in which autistic chat can be added. So this is can be a problem because for now, when this paper when this research still ongoing, there were no real-time stories in which autistic child can be made. So the problem was, this was the problem back then. So this can be a problem statement to me for my new research. This is the problem that I want to solve for my research. So that's the example of from the LR, how can you come up with a new research? The limitation of other researcher or the gap of other researcher can be a new problem to your research. So based on this paper, we can write a new new problem statement. Here, develop surveying the available literature and then develop the idea through discussion. So you already found gap or you already found what's the problem with the previous research, you can develop the idea. And then you need to refresh the research problem. Refresh the research problem. That's mean you need to be specific. You need to be clear on your research problem. You need to write a proper PS. You need to write a proper PS based on this process. But basically, that's how you're going to write the PS. Yeah, that's how you're going to write the PS. But for PS, you just need to know that you need to write clear and precise, or you need to write exactly what is the problem or what you want to research or what you want to conduct for your research. That's what PS is. For example, here, expressing and recognizing emotion is an important skill for social performance. This is the general problem statement. Like Noel just now, you said in the this one, we do not know what's the relationship between A and B. this is general. This is can be accepted, but this is still in a general step for your PS, for your problem statement. You need to be specific, but you need to write it in general first. So in the case just now, what's the relationship between A and B? What is the relationship between A and B? So, so this is the general problem statement. General problem statement. So research gap, few studies, however, have known how much this expression. Few studies research how much research. So, like I said in my previous or the paper that I showed, research gap is something that is suggested from the paper or any idea that they suggest you to do for your future research. So that's the research gap. From the LR, you can find the research gap. From the paper, you can find the research gap. So for this example, this is general problem statement. Maybe you can write something like, because I do not know what is your subject A and subject B, but you need to like, what is the relationship between A and B? You need to be like specific by saying that, is there, for example, I'm not sure what, is there any relation A and B that contribute to any result? That's the example, but because I'm not sure how to give you the example because this is general A and B, but I think you can understand what I'm saying. You need to be general and specific on what you want to do. That's the example. And then you can find or you can fill this problem statement by doing LR. So you can be more specific after you already read LR or do your LR, and then you can find research gap or problem that has been done that related to this project. So research gap can help you to write more specific PS. That's how you do you write your PS. And then statement. Criteria of a good problem statement. A research problem is clear, you know exactly or you write exactly what's the problem. Empirical verifiable. I forgot already what does it mean. Empirical verifiable. Wait, I know but I forgot. Empirical. Empirical. EMPI. Oh, empirical verifiable is something that you derive, from observation instead of from theory, because observation is something that already occur, while theory is only a theory that hasn't been proved. So you need to write a problem statement based on real problem, not imaginary problem. That's empirical verifiable. Interesting novel. Interesting novel is um, novel is it's not a novel. Interesting novel is an interesting like your form of your statement. Your It's not grammar of your statement, but it's a good statement to tell people. It's easy for them to understand. It's easy for me to understand what's your problem statement or what is your problem for your research. That is interesting novel. And original availability of guidance. That means you need to have a good uh, research problem statement. You need to have a good for any problem that you want to solve, or any problem, or for your problem statement, you need to have original availability of guidance. That means it's there. The problem is realistic. It's not some imaginary problem. Because if you're trying to solve something that is not realistic, you can. It's very hard for you to find any source to do your research. Okay, that is for problem statement. Okay, research objective. Research objective or RO is actually why you want to conduct your experiment or why you want to conduct your research. For example, research objective are the specific component of the research problem that you will be working to answer the or complete in order to answer overall research problem. So research objective, or known as the RO, is the M or the goal of your research. If you already have your problem statement, you already have your problem. So you need to objective to solve or tackle the problem. So that's the objective, research objective. So refer the question to be answered. Okay, for each of the objective, usually they have for one objective, because usually for objective in research they have usually they have more than one objective. So for each object of the objective, you will have a question which is known as research question that they want to answer for each of your objective. So from your problem statement, so first you need to have your problem statement, your problem of your research, why you want to conduct of your research. After you already have your problem statement, you need RO, research objective. RO is how you're going to tackle or how you're going to solve your problem or how your research is going to address the problem. And then from RO, research objective, you need to have a research question. For example, your research objective is to see what is the relationship between object A and object B. So your research question should be something like, how can we observe what is the relationship between object A and object B? That is your research objective and research question. Okay. And then research objective. Yeah, like I said just now, establishment of research. Generally for RO, we use the term like to see what is the relationship or to determine what is the result or to discover what is the relationship. Usually they will use term to for objective. So for instance, from the C, from the Noel example just now, this is an example of RO, research objective. Okay. B, B, to identify how A and B is related. Number three, to see the effect of relationship A. This is the example. This is the example that I can think for Noel just now, for object RO, for the research objective. So basically it will start with two. So yeah. So that's how you're going to write your object research. Then how to establish your RO. So again, research objective should be clear and achievable. That means everything that you said here is achievable. That means you can do. You can do or you can, it's reachable. What's the term? Should be clear. Achievable, I think you know what's the meaning. It's logic and you can do as the directly assist in answering the research problem. As they directly assist in answering the research problem. Yeah, because your objective, your RO is something that you use to answer your problem statement. And then may be specific in the form as a statement or question. They are written as statement using the word to discover, to determine. Yeah, basically this is the example of how you're going to write your RO, research objective. So what are the key features to prepare a good, okay, this is another example of RO. So what are the key features to prepare a good presentation PowerPoint? So the objective here is to identify. Oh, they all used to identify as the key to this research objective. Objective, like I said, it's a goal. So why they want to, or what is the goal of their research? So they want to identify. This is the example of RO. And then hypothesis. So for objective just now, do you have any question for objective? Any question before we move to hypothesis?
No.
Hmm. So next we have hypothesis. So hypothesis is a predictive statement that relates an independent variable to dependent variable. So what is hypothesis? Hypothesis actually is something that you want to see or something that you want to justify using your research. For example, we use back the object A and object B just now. Let's say the object A is what I cannot think what is the example for object A and object B. But hypothesis is something that you want to see or justify. For example, you have two objects or you have two variable, variable A and variable B. And then for hypothesis, you need to have independent variable and dependent variable. Guys, this is important because maybe lah, I'm saying maybe in your midterm, they will ask you what is the independent variable or what is the dependent variable of the hypothesis. So, I think mm, guys, this is important. Important for you to know what is independent and dependent variable, not only for midterm, for your research. So, variable FB. So let's say this is your, I just write a simple hypothesis for you to understand how to write hypothesis and what's the independent and dependent variable. Okay, here the hypothesis is the use of the use of FB affect the student performance. So you have two variable here, two object that you want to see what is the relationship. What is the relationship between this Facebook and the student performance? So dependent variable or independent variable is FP. Then student performance. So independent variable and dependent variable. Let's go back first to your lecture note. Hmm. Okay, I'll explain this first. So in your hypothesis is a predictive statement or anything that you want to justify using your research. And it should contain independent and dependent variable. Usually a research hypothesis must contain at least one independent and one dependent variable. Normally constructed in quantitative research. Hypothesis is an assumption. This is what I said just now. Hypothesis is an assumption or theory that you want to justify or that you want to test it. And the hypothesis can be accepted or rejected at the end of your research. But doesn't mean your research is a fail. Fail lah. It can be right or wrong. So based on this slide here, for your hypothesis, at least you need to have one independent and one dependent variable. This is important. So for example here, the use of FB affect the student performance. So let's say we set the variable A as FB because they want to see what is the relationship between Facebook and student performance. So variable A is FB, and variable B is student performance. So the independent variable and dependent variable. So how to identify what is the independent or what is the dependent variable? So dependent variable from the term itself, it's a variable that depend on other variables. That means this variable, this or the result of this variable is depend on another variable. So from this example, the student performance is affected by FB. What is here? But let me confirm something first. Yeah, the term is manipulate. Something that you change in your research to see if mm, how to explain, something that you change to see if what is the effect of your change to this variable, to this subject. For example, we use the easier example. Hypothesis. Synthesis. No, I don't remember photosynthesis. But independent variable is something that you change. Independent variable, SOM, something that you change. Dependent by the change. So independent is something that you change or something that you manipulate to see if is there any result or is there any effect if you change them to this variable. That means if the for this case, for this hypothesis, if the student spend more time on the Facebook, the student performance is decreased. But if the Facebook use is low, less time on Facebook, so the student performance is high. Basically, guys, do you understand the variable and independent variable? I
Yeah.
think, yeah, that's important. I'm glad you understand. Okay, that's hypothesis. So example, suppose you want to study smoking pattern. So smoking pattern in gender differentials. So possible hypothesis, there is no significant difference in proportion. So they use, so this is example of hypothesis based on this problem. Based on this problem, this is the possible hypothesis. As you can read here, therefore, I think you guys can read this letter because this is an example of your hypothesis. Yeah, this is the example of hypothesis. You can read this letter on your own. And then how to write a hypothesis. First, you need to hypothesis formulation. Hypothesis formulation is like an assumption, and on your in the early of your process, you need to do an assumption first. And then after that, you need to do data collection. You need to go for data collection to see to see or to see the hypothesis or to see or to justify anything that you want to justify for your research. And then after you collect your data, you do your data analysis. You see if this analysis is no. I mean after you collect data, you do your data analysis. And then after you have your result from your data, you need to do a conclusion. Conclusion is about the hypothesis. Hypothesis is something or the assumption that you did in your early phase of your research. So you need to see from this data, is it correct, your hypothesis? Is it correct that the FB use is the student performance is affected by the Facebook research or not. So your hypothesis can be true or false. Hypothesis can be accepted or rejected. Okay, that's how or what's the process of hypothesis testing. Basically, you just make assumption and then you go for data collection, you analyze, and then you see back from your data or from your result, is it correct what you sum or what your assumption first. That's all for hypothesis. And then research design parameter. Like I said, parameter is something that related to your research. So for example, the Facebook usage. So type of respondent is the student. Student is the person or people or user that we want to see or intended. So length of survey is how long the user spend on or the student spend on Facebook. Number of question is number of question you ask them usually in questionnaire, data collection, online, telephone, infrequent. This is how you're going to get your data for your research. For example, for the Facebook usage, the data collection method can be from observation. We observe them how long they use the Facebook. So that's the design parameter. And then design parameter, total sample size, geographic scope. I think you can understand this. Total sample size of the respondent you want to use or number of size of student you want to use. Analysis requirement is the method that you want to use to do your analysis for the data. Type of scope and deliverables, how you're going to present your data, presentation report, white paper, cross, or how you are going to present your data. That's the design parameter. And then basic assumption. So in software in SE, experiment often study a person using a process on a product, so they have account for all three objects. Okay, that's meaning in SE in our field, a research or experiment usually to see or usually to understand if a usually to understand a person using a process. That's mean person can be student, product can be Facebook. Process is the time that they use on the product on the Facebook. Yeah, process person is a student. Process can be the time that they spend or anything they use or anything they do with the Facebook. Usually we tend to do that kind of experiment in SE. When all three people are involved in the study, using a series of assumption. Yeah, usually it's not usually for any field of research in the assumption we want to see what is the relationship or we want to make an assumption on the object of our research. Very focused. It can be different with the focus of the study, but remain constant. I think this is just explanation here. I think this is just another explanation. So we move to next. Tools and technique to research. Okay. Tools and technique to research of planning. So last week we already learned. This is how the use. This is how your research already usually present. Not only for student. This is what we always use. Reference management. We use Mendeley, BibTeX. Last week we used BibTeX, right? But I failed to show you guys. But I found the video on YouTube. Maybe I'll share later with you guys. And then calendar. Calendar usually in research we don't use calendar. We use Gantt chart. Gantt chart is I think you know what Gantt chart is, right, guys? Gantt chart. Gantt chart is never mind. I'll show you what Gantt chart is. Gantt chart is something like this. Gantt chart is like your of planning your yeah. This is example of Gantt chart. I'm not sure if you know this, but usually instead of calendar, researchers tend to use this Gantt chart. For example, we have year here. This is not you. This is not. I mean, like you can have for Gantt chart. They don't have any specific form. It can be any. So, for example, here for planning usually how long you will take for research, how long you take from which date to which date, and then for your design, planning, research, and everything. This is more to design process of your system. So basically, this is the example of Gantt chart. Instead of calendar, they will use Gantt chart. So not taking method. This is normal. So online engagement. So this is if you scan this barcode, it's a paper actually. It's a paper. It's a paper. If you scan this barcode, you can find a paper. And then from that paper, you can learn to, uh, you can understand and you can learn to identify what is dependent, variable, independent, the research problem, research objective, and LR. And hypothesis. Yeah, you can try to scan this code. And then, do you have question for, do you have question for chapter 2 before we end our chapter 2? Because we still have practical. Wait, the code is for what again? The code is a paper actually. You can scan in your Mm, mm. The code is a paper that will lead you to a web. So I already scanned this code and I have the this is the paper from the code. Yeah. So to test your understanding on our chapter 2, you need to you need to read this paper and see if you can identify this item, the variable, the research problem, the research objective, the LR, hypothesis, research design, and basic assumption. Usually, for research, in your report, the basic basic assumption is needed for your understanding. But in your report or in your thesis, I don't think they will write any basic assumption there because they will include this basic assumption in your hypothesis if needed. But in your report or your research or your article, they won't ask you to write this basic assumption. It's just for your understanding. What usually need is what usually need for your paper or your report is usually the variable and independent variable. These two variable is usually in the hypothesis. It will include in the hypothesis. Usually you can understand or you can see the research problem or from your problem statement, your research objective, your LR, your hypothesis that include the variable and the basic assumption, and then research design parameter. Research design parameter, for my thesis, I include this one to make it easier for the reader, but usually people don't include this. I won't say people don't include. Usually only student use, yeah, only student write this a no part in your research. So Anything else? Any question before we move to our practical or your assignment progress? Anything, guys? So far, no. Okay, so let's move to practical. Practical. Wait, So, lecture we already covered, tutorial now. Practical progress update on your research. Exercise 1. We do have exercise and quiz. But quiz. I don't think any of you want quiz for this week. I don't think any of you prepared. So let's see first now. Quiz 2. Guys, wait got that. So we have quiz. Hmm, let me think. I think for our quiz, since this is week 2 and we should have quiz 1 and quiz 2. Eh, guys, wait. Usually for your other lecture, will the lecturer tell you if you have quiz or it's like a surprise for you guys, or they will tell you ahead for quiz? Because for my study last time, our lecturer won't tell or inform us if there's any quiz, but in the scope. Ah, yeah. Really, Vincent? Because for my lecture last time, they don't tell us. But I think for this week, I don't think that. Let me check first. Because it's already in your scope, right? So by right, you know if there's any quiz. But let me check the quiz. Am I sharing? Short and surprise, honestly. Yeah. So it's good. Because I already see your quiz, there will be. Hmm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think since the quiz is only 5 questions of objective, I think, yeah, correct. It's already in your course plan. So you won't be surprised. So since before that, I want to ask you, how's the progress on your research, on your assignment? What's the progress on your assignment? Because I think for our quiz, still finding stable topic. Okay, for our quiz, I don't think I will conduct any quiz this week. For first quiz on your second lecture, I think I will, because I already see the question. I think next week you will have quiz 1 and quiz 2 together, but it's only objective. So for practical, mm, let's see, because I need to find. Let's focus on your research or your assignment page. So instead of us doing your exercise, I think, have you guys already, because I want to show or I want to explain, uh, I already uploaded this file to you guys, but let me explain. So I think in this part there will be, in this folder there are assignment cover page, assignment rubric. You need to see the rubric on how you can get marked for your assignment. This is no explanation, evaluation form, but I will go to here, the assignment specification. So basically, what you need to do for this course or for this subject, you need to form a group of three, which you will conduct or you will write a paper in this form. You need to write an article, yeah, an article in this form, which consists of this element, element of your element of your paper or your article. So that's what you need to do. Yeah, it's like a report. Actually, this can be considered as a report. So you need to produce report. Preliminary research is preliminary research is like you go for or you do a, how to give example lah. For example, for my research, I developed a mobile application, uh, gaming mobile application with gaming mobile learning application. Yeah, I designed or I developed a gaming mobile learning application. So my preliminary study or preliminary research is a study or any data research that I done before I developed this mobile application. That is preliminary research before you develop or before I develop my application, I go for a data collection or data collection or a study. So that is preliminary research. So this one you can read the CLO here. So this is what you need to write. You can refer to any, I won't say you can refer to any paper. This is the format, but how you're going to write this, you can refer to any paper. You can refer to this, I think you can refer, this is different format. Usually different article have different format. So for your assignment, they want you or you need to do this format. You can refer to this letter. You can refer to this letter. So for today, we already learn about problem statement, objective question, research question, and hypothesis, material method heaven. So basically you can checklist, assignment report. Yeah, this is, I think you can edit this part to change this part to your research. So far, I want to ask, I want to discuss with you guys, is there any rough idea? Because by this week, actually, you guys already need to submit or you guys need to form a group with a research topic. So I want to ask, is there any group or anyone have any rough idea on how you're going to write your research topic? Still need Microsoft Word. Still need Microsoft Word for this because the Microsoft Word I checked last week. I think Microsoft Word, I think still needed for your own writing, but I don't think there will be any like practical like last week where I show you how to use the Mendeley or the Word. because basically the purpose of last week class on the practical is to tell or to teach you guys how to use this Mendeley and Microsoft Word for your research on writing your research. But I suggest you guys use the same because you are working in a group, right? Yeah, you're working in a group. So what I suggest you guys is to use the same tools so that later if because I'm telling you guys that sometimes even though you think that this is easy to compile, yeah, for something like this, it's if you think this is easy to compile because you're working with three group of member, sometimes if you're using different tools, they have different compile if you want to copy, if you want to copy the other work into the compile version, the format can be different. You need to spend more time to like compiling. So I suggest you guys use the same tools if you're okay with if you're okay with Word, then use Word. Rough idea 65. Na Noel. Yeah. Do you want to share what's your rough idea? Because I can help to guide you. We can discuss here in this class before you go to further research. If that is wrong, that will be wasting of your time. So Noel, you want to share
Uh,
anything regarding your research program?
Actually, we try to find a topic that doesn't involve questionnaire like that. Yeah. So all our data is based on
Doesn't involve.
the hello.
Yeah, yeah, I'm listening. Wait, you mean
Oh,
doesn't involve?
questionnaire.
Doesn't involve questionnaire.
Oh yeah.
So how you're going to
So yeah.
conduct? How you? Okay.
So the
So what's your?
data.
Yes. Mm, yes, Noel. Continue with your idea just now.
Oh, our data is like based on the statistic we can find online like that. Some from legit website. Yeah.
You mean from LR? You want you want
Yeah.
to
Yeah. LR.
uh what's the term? If LR static, right? You said this now.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and if this one you mean you doesn't want to involve questionnaire, right? Is it? Am I
Oh
right?
yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
it's not. But yeah, can because questionnaire and LR is a different type of data collection method. So if you're not using questionnaire, you can find the LR from from previous work. That means from other. This one can because you want to study the LR from other research, so you don't need questionnaire. Can.
Yeah.
So what else for your group? I mean, what is the idea? I mean, do you have anything in mind or any rough idea on what research you want to do?
So far, like maybe COVID or something economy related, like yeah. For example, like
But I said okay. For example, like
like what is the impact of MCO towards uh, Malaysian purchasing power like that. Yeah, but still haven't confirmed
MCO.
lah.
Mm, Let me write this one for you because I can tell that you know or you have the idea. What impact of MCO to Malaysian?
Purchasing power or yeah.
Uh, if this is your title, I can give comment. Uh, this is just a comment. This is just an idea or my guide to you. I'm not sure if you're using this title, but let's say you're using this as your title. Title. This is your title. So the title is Impact of MCO to Malaysian Purchasing Power. Yeah, I can read from this what is this title. I can see that you want there are two variables, which is the dependent and independent here. From this title, you can write a good hypothesis because you have the MCO as your dependent variable and Malaysian purchasing power as your independent variable. So if I were you, I advise to you guys because just now you said maybe you're going to use COVID or COVID, right? You mentioned just now.
Yeah, COVID.
COVID is, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, you mentioned COVID just now. So based on your method here, because you said you doesn't involve questionnaire, so COVID can be a good research or a good idea because you said that you want to use data from LR. So if you go to here, wait, here SCHOLAR is that COVID is already gone. But oh yeah, it's COVID here. So if you don't want to use any questionnaire, you can, COVID is a good title for now because you can see here, there are many used in the data Google. They're focusing on COVID-19. So you can find these sources in this database. So there are many resources you can find in the database. So it should be fine if you want to do your research that doesn't need a questionnaire. That should be fine. But I can advise impact of MCO. MCO is due to the COVID. So maybe you can add maybe from this
During
title. Yeah, I'm not sure this is the heading or COVID situation related to COVID situation. Noel, one more thing, because COVID is a global issue, right? So another thing I want to suggest to not only Noel team, to other team also, because when doing research, for example, we take this COVID, right? COVID is our issue or our problem. So it's a global issue. It's a global pandemic issue. It's not only in Malaysia. So what I suggest to you guys is you guys focus to or be specific. For example, this one, the title here, it is good because they're focusing on Malaysian. So they are focusing on Malaysia economy. So I'm suggesting to you guys, if you want to focus on, maybe you can specific. For example, one they're focusing on the Malaysia economy. So for other group, maybe later you can find other. No, it's not other. I mean, you need to be specific. It's better in area of your study. So for other group also, you can use COVID as your title or research area, but you cannot do this because COVID is very wide area. But you cannot do because this group already I'm not sure if they are using this as their research, but this group already see what is the impact of the MCO or COVID to Malaysian economy. So maybe you guys can see different field. For COVID, another example I can think is the number of suicide. Yeah, is it good research? Yeah, the number of suicide can be a good research topic because you can find you you can find your result or your output from LR2 because how you're going to design a questionnaire and ask people about a suicide. In fact, now we have MCO, right? So we cannot really go out for any fieldwork. So COVID should be more should a good topic. Release the COVID information. So no L, anything else you want to add or you want me to comment?
Oh, so the title is it
But how from title? Wait, no, wait. We have 11 people per group. How it form? Actually, Avin, you have 11, 3, 6. So 1, 2, 3. Three group will consist 3 student. One group will consist 2 student. 1, 2, 3. So 3 group. Eh, for this one group that consists 2 student, whoever left that's for these 2 student, I think if you have problem or anyone, you can PM me. I can give you like I can advise you or I can guide you if you have any problem. If you don't even know what to do, you can tell me. I can guide you. That's the purpose of our practical for us to discuss your progress. So for now, let's focus on Noel first sharing his group. So anything else you want to add? You want
so Miss, the title is it complete or how the impact of MCO?
if you acceptable or not? You mean
Yeah, acceptable.
you want to ask if this is acceptable or not? So mention of purchasing power. I think the 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 impact of MCO to Malaysian purchasing power. I think the title here need to be more specific because first I think you can explain why why what how do you say or what's the reason of MCO? I mean like you can add to your title what is the reason of MCO or why MCO happened in Malaysia. Like you can relate this COVID to your title. You can add somewhere. I do not know how will you do the title, but you need to be a bit more specific because you already have this variable here. So it's good, but I think you need to elaborate more why COVID or why MCO happened in the first place. Malaysian purchasing power. Malaysian power. I think Malaysian purchasing power. Malaysian, Malaysian purchasing power. I think MCO. I think you can add here because this is still general for Malaysian purchasing power. Impact of MCO to Malaysian Malaysian purchasing. I'm not sure if this is the correct online Malaysian purchasing power. No, and what I'm trying to say here actually because just now you only have this title impact of MCO to Malaysian purchasing power because in COVID people we tend to buy things online, right? So maybe you can add the online terms somewhere in your title here. I'm not
Oh,
sure how, but I think you can be more specific. You get right what
yeah,
I'm trying to say.
yeah. Still discussing with the group to find a
Yeah,
suitable.
that one on, yeah, but this is a good idea. Mm, so, so impact of MCO hypothesis is the impact MCO, Malaysian purchasing power. So hypothesis can be with this can be as simple as this. MCO give impact or back the MALA while Malaysian URCHA purchasing power. This can be a that affect all Malaysian or uh, MCO increase CREA increase the I don't know. This is the example for this hypothesis. Yeah, this can be example of the hypothesis based on this statement, but you need to be more specific for your title here and your hypothesis here. Yeah, things should be fine with Noel Group. Anything else, Noel? Okay.
So far, yeah, that's it. Still in discussion.
Okay. Thank you, Noel. Yeah, this one is a good topic. This one can be considered a good topic. So for Kelvin, wait, okay, so this title should be okay. Title should be okay. Yeah, should be okay with this title. We can come out with a hypothesis from this title. You can have a yeah, you can come out with a hypothesis from this title. That's good. And then Shark, the research already done before. Can we still do it? Shark, what do you mean if the research already done before? uh, Kelvin Shark, for research, right? You cannot do or you cannot duplicate the exact research of others because if they already do the research, why we want to conduct another research? But like I said just now, for example, let's take the Noel, the impact of MCO towards the Malaysian purchasing power of COVID-19. So for this area of research, you can still come out with a different title or different area. Shak, you want to turn on your mic or you want to explain what do you mean by the topic, Sam?
No, same topic lah. Like mental health on COVID, and then another one do mental health on COVID research.
Mental. You want to do the mental. Hmm, I think I understand. But okay, let's take example here. Let's use my research for example here. My research was on the learning application that using gamification. The learning application that using gamification is already published, but the difference between my research and the other research is I'm using Bahasa Kadazan Dusun in my language. So maybe for your research, you can use different. What's your example just now, Kevin? Maybe
just the effect of
what's your idea?
COVID.
Let me.
No, just example. My
Yeah.
idea just like the effect of social media on uh, on people, kind of effect of using social media.
This is too general, but effect on. But from your example here, I can suggest you. This is another suggestion. This is of you need to be specific. Social like what is social media?
The effect of social
Facebook?
media on academic performance of young people.
Okay. Effect on Facebook on
Effect on
you see
student
college.
performance.
Yeah. If like this, STUDEN or for okay. First, yeah. So Calvin Sharp. So here, based on your example just now, effect on FB on student performance. This is the general research or general idea of research, which is not a topic actually. But if you want to do, I'm not sure if the research already done to start you see Sabah Tar you see maybe if this I mean like you need to be specific if this research haven't been done before to see what is the relationship between Facebook and focusing on Sabah Tar you see can. But if this research already done where a researcher already see the relationship between the Facebook and Sabah Tar you see student, then cannot. But if haven't, then okay, can. Do you understand or not what I'm saying?
Must be so specific. Cannot must be on some.
General?
Cannot the Facebook can I just generalize like any social media, like Instagram, and then TikTok, those things.
Instagram. But I don't understand what you're saying.
Uh, other social media like Facebook lah.
Can. Can.
Just all
This
the
is
no,
this
no,
example.
I just ask only if I can be a bit general with the some things. Can I also
Oh, you
talk?
mean that? Oh, you mean like the use of social media?
addiction, yeah, use too much social media, like how they affects the student performance or how they affect the student health like that lah, mental health like that.
Okay. Understood. But who is the target of your student? I mean, who is the target of your research? For example, in your research, you are using students. So who is the target of your student?
I need to choose a student lah. Oh, should be
Yeah.
if that is Thai, should be Thai UC since But I cannot. But how if I cannot do survey, how do I do research like that?
If you cannot do survey,
How do I do proper research
how
without
you,
the facts?
what do you mean if you cannot do survey?
I don't have like
You mean
cannot
you want to
do questionnaire,
you,
or if I cannot do questionnaire like those things, then how do I get data for it?
oh, okay, I understand. Your concern is how you're going to collect the data if you cannot do the questionnaire, is it?
Yeah, like that.
Is that?
Uh,
Kelvin, for this research, it's quite different with Noel because Noel doesn't their how do you say from the title or the area of their research, they can get the data from the LR. But for your idea uh, that you mentioned here, you need to do a data collection because how you're going to know how you're going to get the data on how much the
oh,
students spend on social media. But this one, you
so
can use
troublesome.
Google Form.
So troublesome.
Pardon?
If I if like this, I rather do more. I rather not do need collect data collection like this.
Yeah, understood.
If I say
But if you're
if I don't say student, I say Malaysians only. If I say Malaysians,
Malaysian,
yeah, on Malaysian.
then
Can,
how you are going to get the data? Yeah. No, but I think Kevin, right? I think your idea is good, but I know what your concern. You don't want to do the questionnaire, right?
I don't want to do
Is it?
the survey those things. Yeah, the questionnaires. Yeah,
But you can use Google Form. Google Form, I can you can use Google Form. For this case, I think this is just my idea. In the Google Form, shouldn't we have many question type of social media, like for example, what's that? FB, IG, anything, then how long can be this question only? Shouldn't be if this is your research, how
yeah,
long you spend.
yeah.
Shouldn't be like actually this is quite interesting. How long you spend and then what's your previous what are you guys CGPA is it? CGPA. Yeah. You can only give this kind of question and then you get the data already for your research. This is quite easy. Honestly, I can see this topic is easier than this, but the difference is your research or your research needs a Google Form, but Google Form should be okay if you want. This is just my suggestion, but it's up to you. But should be okay. You can use a create Google Form, and then later when you get your I can see the flow already from your research.
Yeah. I
You
just
can
I still need to do the still need to find somewhere to do the survey, right? Can I just post in the
yeah,
Tasi space?
but it's a good research.
I can
Wow,
still reference other sources.
shortcut, bro. You mean you want to post?
If I just post in the Tasi,
I
yeah, never mind.
think
Never mind. Needs permission to
no,
do that.
Tarsi, but never mind. No, Kelvin. Yeah, but you can just forward your. You can only use 10 student. I mean your audience or your target of your research. For my research last time, even for master, I only use few people. I
Oh,
only use I don't remember, but for your case, I think you can use like 10 students. So you forward that 10 Google Form to 10 student.
then
Should be okay.
just do for
No problem with that.
my own course can already lah. Then 10 11 people do the survey.
It's up to you. Yeah, 10 Yeah, you doesn't need to take 100 or even like 20, 30. 10 should be enough. 10, 15. Your cost can, yeah, you should send the Google form to your cost. Should be okay. Am I answering your question, Kelvin?
Yeah, I
Kelvin?
just if the results if the survey results doesn't match what my hypothesis is, it's still okay, right?
Okay. Okay. Hypothesis can be accepted and rejected.
Okay.
No problem.
I can say
If that's your result, yeah.
I can still like find a reason for why the hypothesis for the my hypothesis
It's wrong.
not supported in this survey. Maybe I said sample too small, like that kind
Yeah.
of.
Mm.
I think I got
Sample
idea.
too small. Mm, I think that can be a reason too. Sample too small. But you should like justify or you should support with other reason. Yeah. Should be okay. Should be
can I
okay.
still reference like research like around the same research, like
Can.
same like other country do it on other students or other
Yes.
okay, other research paper. Okay,
Can.
I think I got idea. I think let's do that.
Yeah. Parameter.
Still quite rude to ask the CGPA. I think.
No, this one, right? No. Let me correct my statement. Focus of RE. Wait, it doesn't need to check on social media. Ada. Oh, method. Hmm. QUESDIO. Name. Full form. Yeah.
Or just put a range for them like that.
Yes, range. Don't ask specific or exact
Okay.
range. It's like you do Google form, right? For example, what is your CGPA? A is from 4 to 3.5. B is 3 point, that's the range.
Okay.
Should be okay. 10 question or 3 question should be enough because you just want to see. This is how long you spend in hours. In hours. Type of social media, I'm not sure what you can give example. Maybe other social media. Should be okay.
Yeah.
If that's your research. In this case, the topic is not same. The topic is same, but the area of your study is different. So should be okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Miss,
Anything else, Shak? Yes.
we already discussed, so yeah, we want to change the topic again.
You already discussed with your team.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your
Relationship between SOP and COVID case.
relationship between SOP and COVID case?
Yeah,
Relationship of SOP.
in
SOP.
Malaysia.
Oh, okay. That's the general idea. But we have different SOP we have like PKP, PKPB, PKPPP, and then the SOP is changed, right? So if you want to do this kind of relation of SOP with number of cases,
Daily. Yeah.
this one. So my suggestion for this one, relationship between SOP during this one, you need to be specific. During, that means, is it your SOP during PKP or PKPB? That's one I'm not sure.
Or in the year 2020.
Book of SS, CASS. January to December. Yeah. Should be specific which SOP you're referring to because you have different SOP, right? Because later if people understand, people read your paper, they will ask which SOP. So you need to be specific. But this one is okay too. Just you need to be specific which SOP during what what do we call it? Because PKP we have few PKP, right? So if I'm the reader, usually class, my advice to you when you are writing or give writing a type writing a research, you need to think in from a reader perspective. For example, if I read this, where is it just now? If I read this title, relationship, oh yeah, let's see the first one, relationship between relationship of SOP with number of cases daily. So I might think or I might ask in which SOP. So you need to be specific here. During maybe, I don't know, this is just example of my idea, of my understanding. This one you need to be specific. For example, if you
Oh yeah,
read this,
instead of relationship what if like different SOP in different PKPD towards the COVID case, something like that.
relation
Like
of
and not relation, like compare the SOP in different types of MCO.
the the effective of the, you mean the effective of the SOP?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you want to see the effective of the SOP in different places, is it? Is that what you're trying to say?
Uh, what do we call like if MCO or MCO? Is it
That's why I'm not sure to what's the term. I think I understand what you're saying, but I also do not know what's the classification or what's the class of the MCO or MCO. I'm not sure too. But I think can, if you want to see what's the difference between the MCO, that one can. But but for Noel group, I think better you can send me your topic so I can give you, or any one of you, you can send your topic to me. I can give you, I think it's better if you ask in the group. I can give you my suggestion or my idea of your group, of your title. So now we go to Rachel first. Miss Head Malaysian effect. Hmm. Yeah. Rachel, right? Rachel, can you explain this title?
Explain like how.
From the title here, or what you intend to, or what research you plan to conduct?
Simple questionnaire.
You mean your methods? So you want to see what's the effect of online class to mental health, right? I
The
think this is
negative effects.
the pardon the what?
The negative effects.
Or negative effect. So your assumption here is, or your hypothesis here is, uh,
That it's that there is a negative effect.
yeah, your hypothesis is the hypothesis. This is my suggestion. Hypothesis is online class class bring negative effect on the mm, students' mental health. This is what you want to see, right? I mean, you want to, based on your negative, based on your based on your title here, I think your research is, you want to negative. So Rachel, I want to know who is your target of your, you want to use questionnaire, right? You want
Yeah.
to see what is the mental health. So who is your target of your student? Do you have any idea?
Well, first off, specifically is Malaysian students, because different countries have different social structures.
Yeah, but so you're going to wait, where is it this now? This one. I understand what you're trying to do, but I think you're okay. You want to use the university student, right? So that's mean you are going to have a few of, it's not a few of university, like you're going to send your questionnaire to different students from different university.
If possible,
Is
yeah.
that what you're trying to? But I have a question for you. Do you think that is doable? Or do you think that we can do that? Mm, this is a good title. Honestly, this is a good title. Negative effect on online classes, major system in general. Can you can do that? You can different. You can approach, or you can, it's not approach. You can send your Google form to different type of university. But for example, let's say you contact student from UMS. I just use UMS as example. So let's say you use as 10 student from UMS, and then you need another different university, for example, UPM or any other university. You need to use the same number of audience. Need
Is there like a
you
minimum?
are no, but you need to use the same number of student for each apa? University or college.
Is there a minimum for
No,
each university?
no. But I think should five should be okay.
Okay.
Minimum five. Because if the number is smaller than five, then you won't get enough data. But for your topic can be more specific. I think you need to change it to more specific. But should be okay. Your idea here.
So more
Negative effect
specific,
on
like
classes on mental.
only university students.
Negative effect on online class and mental health information. Student. Malaysian University student.
Or
Negative effect
do
on mental
colleges count?
health on
Like
Malaysia.
the colleges count, or maybe like higher education students.
Can higher education. But if higher education student is university, right? Or form 6? HIG.
Because I'm thinking like a term for university and college.
Yeah. Because university, I think it's general because you can use, if you want to use college also can. Higher education, higher, wait, negative effect on life versus mental health of nation, HIG. School education student. I think like this also include the college and student or after high school. Should be okay with this one.
Okay.
Or if you have any specific term you want to change for any of this title, you can change. You can change to any specific term if you want to. Mm,
I think the title is just yeah, it's okay.
the title, Rachel, for your case, because you're not sure with your title, right? But you have the idea on what you want to do. For title, you don't have to worry because it's normal in a research, even for my PhD, the title can change from time to time. But the idea of your research still, you need to fix the idea of your research, but the title or the term can be changed. So it's okay if you want to change later your title. Shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not that I'm not saying that you do a major change, like you change your title, major change to your title, like you do different, you like, how do you say, you don't do, what I'm trying to say is you do not do any major change to your title, like you totally change the title or you totally change your research. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like you can change the term here. Let's say you want to use university or college, that one is not a problem. That one is only a minor change. Should be okay. So, is there any research already conducted for this one? I'm not sure if there are any research already. If there, because I think this is quite general. If there's any research already conducted, Allah.
So far I found only like general research only on students, like very general, and one on Indian students.
I think it's still general, then okay. If you, but you understand, right, what I'm saying? You need to be specific. Same goes to Kelvin. The effect on social media on student performance, I think that's already researched. But if you're focusing on TAR, you see, so should be okay. Same goes to your research. If you're focusing, if you're specific, should be okay.
I can use research that supports different effects, right? Like positive effect and then negative effects. Some say good, some say bad.
You want to conclude or you want to include both of the effect on in your research? Is it?
Yeah, I just want to if I just ask if I can use other yeah, both effects, yeah, both effects. If I can include both effects in my research. Yeah, that. Yeah, that.
Can you can conclude in your result part? Can.
I can also talk about my own. I can also write my own hypothesis. Right?
Yeah, you can write your own hypothesis.
Okay.
But for hypothesis,
Write my own guess about
method,
what should.
let me This is bring or no social media affect
brings positive effects
affect
or affects the student positively, or positively affects the student performance. Like that.
Then?
Yeah. This cannot.
Like,
Positive.
pardon, what do you mean just now?
You know,
Positive?
yeah, affect the car usage student performance positively, like that kind of the hypothesis.
Oh, can
But
can.
I can be wrong like that. I still can be wrong.
Yeah, you
You're fine.
yeah, you can still be wrong.
Okay.
I know what you're trying to do. You're trying. I know, Calvin. I know your game. I did this too last time. You're going to manipulate your data, right? Never mind. But yeah, that's correct.
Oh, I'm
What else? Any?
no, I'm not gonna manipulate the data. No.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, but should be okay. If this is your hypothesis, should be okay. But you need to remember your your. Oh no, should be okay if you do it like this. Okay, Calvin, I think you're good for your research. Rachel, for your just now. Daniel. For Rachel, do you have any question before we move to Daniel? No.
For now, no.
Oh, okay. Never mind. You guys can end me later. So we have who's this? We have Daniel. Why people not cooperate and trust in government? Reason and result. Why people? So for Daniel, why people not propose? Can you explain from your research here, from your title here?
Most now recently the pandemic, right? For especially for
Mhm.
COVID-19. For
Mhm.
the early stage of the COVID-19, even though COVID-19 be introduced to everyone, like the pandemic itself is highly dangerous to people going outside. But the government already told the government already told everyone about the pandemic, about this pandemic. But certain people, um, certain people still do not trust or the or trust or they do not trust the existence of COVID-19, especially the COVID-19. We have a lot of reason technically for the for the for the COVID for the pandemic itself nowadays. Oh yeah, Miss the Alvin is actually in
Oh,
in my same in my group,
oh, okay.
but we try first why people not cooperate and trust. If not, we change to COVID-19 impact on internet.
Okay, understood. But my suggestion to Daniel, have you ever done any research before? Or like, have you involved in any research before?
I
Or
read a
have you
lot of
done any
paper
research?
and most
Ah,
some paper article lah, news article lah, watching news. Some
because
certain people don't really trust about the government or and doesn't want to acknowledge the existence of COVID-19.
yeah, I know you done your reading. Good job from your confidence of speaking. Very good of that. Okay, why people never trust in government pandemic, especially as a result. Okay, for this title, I think I know what you're trying to do, but you haven't confirmed yet. But I think from this one, this is still general. And why people recover? Yeah. Again, your title is too general, not specific. Why people not cooperate and trust in government? Trust in which aspect? I mean, like financial, or safety. Also, the aspect financial safety. Yeah, need to be specific.
Mm,
Why I am asking you all to be specific? Because if you give me general research, general topic, then the cover of your research letter, the cover of your research letter will be, I think you need to focus on a lot of things. So if you focus on one area, then your research will be easier for you guys.
oh,
Like for example, like this, for example, like from Danny, right? Trust in which, in your research letter you need to include few like, I would say like class, or no, few like, in which perspective that us the, what's that? Assimilation, and on which perspective that we do not trust the government. That's why I'm saying that you need to, mm, you need to be specific with perspective. Yeah.
for me, I need to ask my group member, but most of
Mm,
the time, I can think of is the safety, safety about the
safety. Oh,
about the safety because of this. We already in Malaysia, we already have PKP. The first PKP is can be considered as a
mm,
quite successful, but later on,
mm,
the second, the third, and the fourth. Now currently we are in PKP 4. It's very terrible. It's very terrible about the cases of about people getting COVID, getting COVID, getting more and more. Even though
yeah.
the government want government want to distribute vaccine, most of the people in Malaysia didn't even receive yet. Even though they already download what about My Sejahtera app, they still didn't notify or didn't get any appointment to get the vaccination. Some people already people already take first dose vaccination. But sorry, wrong statement. I mean, some people already register for My Sejahtera app for a long time, way
Mm,
before after it's way before the first group, like the front before the frontliner. They have three phases.
batch, first batch.
The first page before the first page. People register quite early for to get as early as possible for the vaccine,
Mm,
but people still didn't get it. Especially me, I already registered for since February, didn't getting any receive any notification at all or any appointment. That's the main reason. That's the main reason also, and also about the for the financial. For the financial, I can say that even though the government already distribute helps like bantuan, like a lot of bantuan, prihatin.
mm,
They already distribute a lot of finance, but for the helping for the financial aspect, they finance the people the people getting, how to say, less money already. I can say less
yeah.
financial. They now most of the people are getting job. Now people are getting jobless, and more and more jobless, and people try to want to have job. That's the and as a result for the financial kan, people are getting people want to lend money from bank. Some of the bank didn't accept their loan.
So cool. All the said, everything you said just now, it's like I'm reading. I'm in the Viva. You explain well on your research. I think you did your reading. Most of the thing that you said, the explanation just now, I think almost all of them can be included as in your LR. But you need to anything that you said just now can be included as in LR. But you need to have a you need to find a valid resource. If you read them from newspaper, also can include in the LR. And then for your in the financial part, because no, let's start here first. Why people not corporate? So for your research, you need to identify, or you need to if if this is your to identify why why people not corporate with mm, nation Malaysia government or government. Okay, just 1 second. So to identify corporate interest, what is second objective? Let me think. The reason. Event special awareness, reason and result. Why people not cooperate and trust in government payroll? To identify. Why? What is the result from the what's the term for not trusting? Distrust? Nothing. Oh, battery, battery. Guys, wait. So here can be objective from what's the term? From I'm not sure what's the correct term, but yeah. Why people this is for me is not a title, but this is the area of research or what you want to conduct. If you want to conduct this research, it's okay, but you need to find a proper research title for this one. For Daniel, I think you did your reading. I think you're ready to go for Viva presentation. Maybe okay if you want to do this research. This is not a for me. This is not a title. This is more to a area of research or what you want to. This is more to a problem statement. But okay, any group because 1, 2, 3,
Oh yeah,
4. Yes, Noel.
about the new topic we already confirmed when I post in the chat.
Huh? Uh, Chuck, you're asking me some group need survey, some no need. Yes, it's depend on your research or what you want to do. Some of them can, for example, yours need to do a survey. You need to you need to conduct a survey. Is this the new title? how SOP is in different movement control. Yeah, this one can be a title. How SOP is in different movement control. What do we call this?
Yeah, if our topic we just use the movement control lang, yeah, as a generic term.
Should be okay because you mean that the different movement control will affect the number of cases. This one can. So your hypothesis should be something like, I think it's easy to write your hypothesis based on your title. Yeah, this one can be, your title itself can be a hypothesis. Yeah, can.
Maybe the hypothesis also can be like that.
Can, because you want to see what is the effect of this different movement control to the number of cases. Number of cases, yeah, number of cases.
Because at first I thought like I have to like the more stricter the SOP, the less daily case. But yeah. Oh, okay.
So this is just suggestion. You can.
I think. Oh wait,
the
we haven't
more,
discussed it.
yeah, it's okay. Should be okay if you want to use the title too. Hypothesis is the same like we learn in high school. If you do lab, yeah, should be same. That one. But okay, for your title, Kelvin Shark, I think I already answered your question. Kelvin Shark, is it the same Kelvin with this one? I remember there's one Kelvin last in my previous class. I don't remember which Kelvin. Asked about the imaginary problem. Are you that imaginary guy? Yeah, me. Yeah, you the imaginary guy. Yeah, you can have same group need survey. Yeah, some group need survey and some doesn't need. Yes, imaginary guy with imaginary girlfriend. No lah. So yeah, for your question, need to survey for Noel group. I think enough with LR. LR. But you need to do a lot of reading. Yeah, because you don't want, even from this title, you just need LR, a lot of reading from the news, I think. News or paper. Kelvin, obviously, you need to.
Is statistics considered as outcomes?
Statistic?
Yeah, considered as LR.
Yes, statistic, it's considered as LR. Any statistic from any report. Statistic from any report. Yeah, it's an LR. This one need survey, racial, negative online need survey. Why people, Daniel, I think it's more on paper, LR. Yeah, LR. So any more want to share? Sarah Vincent. Mine can use LR too. Kelvin Shark can to support your. Actually, you are not only for your research. You can have many resources. That means you can use LR. You can use questionnaire in the same time, or you can do observation, or yeah, interview. But in our current state, I don't think that you can use interview. You can go ask people. That's not possible for current situation for now, but can. Okay, Kelvin, I remember you. And then who else want to share any title? Sarah Vincent, you want to share anything? Your group? It's tough already. Later, you need to. We need to you need to send me the name of your group for your research, especially the one that will contain, or it's not content, the one with 2 students. Really? Mm. Oh. 369. Oh, Kelvin and Farah in the same group. Oh, since Kelvin and Farah in the same group for 2, so shouldn't be a problem. Okay. So anything else
Miss,
you want to ask?
about
Yes,
this
yes.
title, I want to send you. We change into this title. How about this title? Because it's the same thing, but yeah lah.
Wait, Daniel.
Can ka?
The trust and corporate of people towards government under corporate. What is it mean by corporate here?
Corporate is like corporation. Corporation. Sorry.
How well does the corporate, is it, you mean how well do we cooperate with the government?
Yeah, more like that. How about
This is
this?
not a title. This that's corporation, the trust and corporate of people towards government. I think for your research, Daniel, I think right. I think for your group, you give me what your fit or what your research you want to do, because these two you send to me is more to like the idea. So
Oh,
I'm
okay,
suggesting to you
okay.
guys, you fix the idea and then maybe you can send to me, then I will try to help you guys with the title
Uh,
of your
oh,
research.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks,
How
Mix.
well the company. Yes. So anything else, guys? No? So far, no. Yeah. So I think that's all for today. Remember, next week we will have 2 quiz. Yeah. You read my mind, Kelvin Shark, the imaginary guy again. Next week we will do 2 quiz, but 5 questions for 1 quiz. Should be easy. No effect. You just try your best to answer your quiz. That's all I want to say. I don't want to answer this question. No effect on coursework. Yeah, just do your best for your quiz. I don't want to answer. I want to skip this part. So, anything else, guys, you want to ask? Yes, no, L, sure.